Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Elliott Ware. Today's video, we're going to be going over form. This is kind of the beginning of a series I'm going to start up called Good Form versus Bad Form, where I basically go over how to perform different exercises with good form, showing what some examples of bad form would look like and how to correct them. Form is one of those things that you always want to nail down, really optimize your workouts, optimize your sets, and ultimately make that progression and muscle growth and fitness progression that we all want to see. So in today's video, in today's good form versus bad form video, we're going to be doing arms. So I'm going to be doing a few bicep exercises as well as a few tricep exercises and kind of breaking down what good form is throughout the entirety of the video. Done my cardio, so I'm good and warmed up, and we can just go ahead and get into the first exercise.
All right, so here's an example of the barbell curls, but this is horrible form. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of swinging and just involving my body, more areas of my body than I should have to. You really want to focus on, getting a good solid position, not swinging all over the place while you're doing this movement, and not engaging the shoulders a lot too. Now in this particular one, this is also an example of bad form because I'm kind of shortchanging the rep. I'm not doing the full range of motion with that one. So those are the two things you kind of want to avoid. Now here's an example of good form with barbell curls. As you can see, I'm not swinging my body. I'm bringing it all the way from top to bottom, getting a really good squeeze and a really good stretch. Yeah, and I just went ahead and threw this close up view in there just so you can really see what I mean by just keeping your elbows locked to your sides and keeping your shoulders good and still, not involving them too much in the exercise as well. All right, moving on to hammer curls. This is an example of really bad form with this exercise. Kind of in the previous movement, doing a lot of swinging, involving a lot of more different muscle groups. You really just want to focus on the biceps. And again, really with bicep training and really arm training in general, a lot of the focus comes from just keeping your elbows locked to your sides and mainly using the elbow as a main movement muscle. All right, so here we got an example of like good form. As you can see, elbows nice and tucked to the side, going from top to bottom, really good stretch, really good squeeze.
All right, guys, so one tip I'm going to give y'all about just keeping good form, when you're doing these different exercises, whether it be arms or any other muscle group, is you always want to have strict form. Make sure that your form is correct. You don't want to start off right and then halfway through the movement, your form kind of goes weak. You want to maintain that strict form throughout the entirety of the movement. When you're contracting and extending, whether it be arms or, like any other muscle group, you want to make sure your form is strict and on point throughout the.
All right, so moving on to preacher curls. This bad form example really just comes from, just not doing the full range of motion. As you can see, I'm kind of going back and forth with it, but not really getting a good stretch with the movement. And then here, it's kind of like overdoing it. So you can see I'm like coming up with the bar as I let it go down, which is something you don't want to do. And really, again, you're not getting the good range of motion and the good stretch and good squeeze with your form with a bad form like this. So again, you'll see on the next one a proper way to do this. Again, like I've been saying, really just want to keep the elbows and the shoulders kind of like locked in position. Like here you go. Good full range of motion, going from top to bottom, not doing a lot of moving around, doing a lot of swinging. Even though this is like a preacher curl machine and you would think that people would like be fixed into the machine, you'd be surprised how many people can go to bad form with this movement really quickly. So here's another example, just seeing how I'm controlling it all the way from top to bottom. All right, now that we're done with biceps, we can move on to triceps. And here in this example, You really don't need to be doing these swinging and jerking. As you can see, I'm moving my entire arm. I'm not really focusing on the triceps. And just by involving your body a lot in whatever movements you're doing, you're really taking away the effectiveness to the specific muscle group that the exercise is designed for. So here in this one is another good example. So right here would be an example of good form. Keeping the elbows nice and locked to the side, not incorporating a lot of body.
So the next tip I want to talk about is controlling the weight throughout the entirety of the movement. This kind of goes back or piggybacks off the last tip, strict form. Controlling the weight, again, making sure that it's not going all over the place. Don't be throwing it around. You want to make sure you control it from the top of the movement to the bottom. So the positive to the negative, the contraction and the extension. You know, these are really fundamental ways to maximize muscle growth, maximize the exercises that you do, and just overall build up your muscles, tone, whatever you're trying to do, overall fitness progression, just controlling the weight throughout the movement. And it's kind of ties into the next tip that we're going to talk about, which is not going too heavy.
All right, moving on to skull crushers. This is a bad form example because, as you can see, I don't have a good range of motion and my elbows are really flared out. You don't want to have your elbows too far out because that can cause injury. Here's a good way to do this. Well, I'll even say with this one, the elbows are still kind of out pretty far, which is something you don't want. You don't want to risk injury or anything like that. And the focus really kind of goes away from the actual tricep portion that the exercise is targeted for. Here's a better example. You see my elbows are a little bit closer in. Really with this exercise, you just want to focus on getting we have tricep kickbacks, which this bad form example, I'm not far over enough. You want to get nice and parallel with the ground to where you can get a good range of motion. And even now in this one, I'm bent over a little bit more, which is good, but I'm still kind of swinging the weight, which is something you don't want to do. You want to get a nice, good movement with it. Here's a better example. I'm kind of going all the way back, still keeping everything as parallel to the ground as I can. Getting a good stretch and squeeze at the top, as you can see there on the tricep. So, good form example.
All right, so tip number 3 is going to be not to go too heavy. And this goes for any exercise that you do. There's some exercises that it's more appropriate to go too heavy if you're trying to train for like strength or it's a compound movement or something like that. But for the most part, you don't want to go too heavy with whatever exercise that you're doing. You don't want to risk any injury. Plus, most of the time that's wasting a rep, wasting sets, going too heavy, and again, not getting, the most out of, your reps. So again, with any exercise, you want to get you a good, decent weight that you can do whatever your rep range is, with some challenge. So at first, if you're new to the gym or you're trying new exercises, what have you, you really got to find your weight with whatever exercise. But as soon as you get it dialed in to get those, whether it be 8 to 10 reps or 10 to 12 reps, 15 to 20, however many it is for whatever exercise, you want to make sure that you're not going too heavy to where you're sacrificing the good form. That's something that you always want to keep key. The weight will be there if you're trying to get stronger. It's all about progressive overload. The more you work to build better form, build more muscle, you will get stronger over time. So just take it easy, focus on getting a good, decent weight with whatever exercise that you can get in your optimal rep ranges. And again, always keep that form nice and short. All right, guys, that is a wrap on today's video. If you enjoyed the video, enjoyed the commentary, please give this video a like. I really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe for more content. I got way more videos on the way, more good form, bad form stuff, as well as other fitness related content. So I really appreciate if you subscribe, for the future videos that's gonna come out. And also be sure to leave a comment if you enjoy this video. Be sure to let me know, as well as any other fitness kind of content that you want to see from me. I definitely appreciate you sticking to the end, and I'll catch you on the next video.